This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
One male down, code 3, incident 4.
LA's always been a hunting ground. I've been hunting armed men through this city since OJ was doing Hertz commercials. And I can tell you, one thing never changes. Nobody sees it coming. Okay, everybody, listen up. This franchise officially closed due to numerous fire code violations.
You think it's easy maintaining a professional standard down here?
Yeah, well, as a great philosopher once said, more money, more problems.
You get in a car with Frank Rourke and it'll never be simple again.
I'll be all right.
Promise me you won't get lost out there.
Detective Rourke. Kyle Craig.
Who the hell's Kyle Craig?
I'm your new trainee.
Well, come on. Might as well get this over with.
Sir, somebody's in the trunk.
Say, with observation skills like that, you're gonna make a fine detective. All right, this isn't a training day. It's more of a trial by fire.
Shots fired, Officer.
I have a son. I have to warn him about cops like you. Shoot first, and who cares if you're wrong? You can always make something up, right, Frank?
Wrong. You gotta warn him about the ones who don't care. We hunt the city's most dangerous game. Heavily armed and highly motivated, and they will kill you, Kyle. Bullets either go in the bad guys or you wind up wearing them.
I'm a cop, Frank. Cops have rules. We have limits. Building up is hard.
So you're gonna rehabilitate this guy?
I'm gonna train him.
Night. We both two crooked motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Steal that money. Hide behind a badge. So we've been talking about just covering all sorts of shit and revisiting other stuff. And one episode was not good enough for David Ayer's East LA crime films. And now, it's unfortunate that now people only seem to know him as the divisive superhero movie guy, or now the guy working with Jason Statham and Kurt Wimmer, guys he meant to work with for a while and now finally is working with. And I'm just like, he will always be Mr. East LA crime fiction guy. I don't know why this... People are dumb. They just don't look at scripts, or they think, oh, he's not that great. I'm like, whatever.
No, true story.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good for a guy who started off reworking movies like Taking Lives and a Steven Seagal film, and now he's
not getting credited for a lot of the stuff he did in the first place.
Right, and the Fast and Furious is like, I don't count that as his East LA movies, but he came up, like, you can tell, like, there's such a difference with the style and dialogue alone compared to where the franchise later goes.
True. That's what was so. That's why he was so vocal against Suicide Squad when it came out, because he's like, "That's not what I worked on." And the studio
I knew people who worked on the Fantastic Four movie from 2015. Same deal.
I love that fucking movie.
It's unfinished, but it's got some ideas. But either way, I was just like, I would like to see a producer's cut versus.
What's wrong with Josh's take?
Yeah, apparently they shot a lot of different stuff. Like, he had a very valuable crew, but truth be told, the stars were being toxic and he was high as a kite, just saying, "Are
Oh,
we good?"
God.
I don't know. So I'm like, so I would call this the editor's cut. I want to see what the competent crew he had, put together. Because think of it like with Waterworld, where the director and star are too close to it, and the studio abandoned it. So we want to see what again people put together using both takes, and kudos to Ayer. He's established his own production company called Cedar Park Entertainment. And I'm glad he's moved on. For a while, they were trying to get him to do remakes of stuff like Scarface and The
That's
Wild
dumb.
Bunch. And I'm just like, yeah,
You
no
can't
need to remake.
really replicate all that shit. That's too much.
They wanted him
Scarface
to
has
do a version of The Dirty Dozen. I'm like, how's that going to work?
we'll just call it the Baker's dozen.
The Baker stuff, the half-baked dozen. There you go. Jim Brewer and Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be discussing Training Day, Dark Blue, SWAT, Horse Times, Street Kings,
Yes.
End of Watch, Sabotage, and The Tax Collector.
The best undercover agents in the DEA.
Yes, man. I'm not here to make arrests, right?
Cartel's got your wife and kid.
We're here to bring them home. Let's destroy them.
Sabotage. Rated R.
Who are you? I'm the future, and you the past. Got your kids. You want to buy them back?
You don't think he wants to spill blood? He wants to cut your heart up.
Can't run with what's left.
I got a 380 on each ankle, 38 in my right, 25 in my left, chopper in the trunk, Glock in my belt. I'm on him.
Took my kids, man.
I'm riding with you till the wheels fall off.
You're bad. You ain't that bad, all right?
Open your mouth.
He'll splatter your brains out. I don't want that.
I do. I want that.
All movies I've seen except Tax Collector.
It's all good. So The Tax Collectors will like it or hate it, but the only connection is
Does he actually collect taxes though?
yeah.
Okay, good. It's
In
not
a
false
way.
advertising. It's false advertising.
He works for a crime lord called the Wizard. Anyway,
I'm the wizard.
I'm the
I
wizard,
need to get
motherfucker.
hungry.
But it's just so funny how the shot caller of the Bloods gang, Bone, played by Clee Sloan from Training Day, like that character returns. So I'm like, awesome! Finally, you're not only it's not just the same actor; you're having the character crossover, a minor character, in a good way. So we'll also briefly talk about Deputy and the Training Day show. But
another Training Day show.
Yeah, it does not get the love it deserves. A lot of people kept going, "Hey, that's the last thing Bill Paxton worked on." I'm like, "Yeah," and he was good in it. And they actually wrapped it up before the show got canceled and he died. But
Bill's best work was Big Love. Everybody will gravitate to Twister because it's so easy to flip.
Twister's a mainstream one.
And
I go
Aliens.
mainly Frailty and Aliens, but
Yes,
yeah.
right. So you're especially that.
Near Dark, Apollo 13. Got to put that in there. Like that's a PG-13 movie that works because it's not about the spectacle. It's about the experience and the emotional impact that it. And I'm surprised that given the amount of snobbery, that one has not been attacked because it seems like every other high school film or I don't know. Horror action movie has just decided, hey, it sucked then, it sucks now. I'm like, whoa, back, hold up. So, I didn't see any of these movies in order, but I did see a lot of them back in the day around 06. Like by 06, 07, I knew who the hell David Ayer was. I was like, this dude, he's his own special bread and butter. He's not I see people trying to say he's trying to lampoon or imitate Michael Mann or Tarantino. I'm like, I think he's his own special oyster because he actually knew cop friends, he knew ex-gang members, he knew other Latino friends, and he was in the Navy, so he had kind of a director's approach. Yeah. And these are all unrecognizable performances. That is something I got to give to that I do not think he gets enough credit for. I never hear that. I'll see people say, "Hey, I didn't like that movie," but I never see anyone say that actor was miscast or was shitty.
Dark Blue is my top favorite next to Street Kings.
And the TV version, it's so funny. They kind of cut out a lot of the homophobia and slurs. So I knew Kurt Russell was a piece of shit as Sergeant Perry, but I didn't hear some of the other fucked up shit that he says if you see it uncut. And Ving Rhames, great role for him as the commander. No, he wasn't the commander. He was the assistant chief, and the commander was Brendan Gleeson. And that was one of the first. I mean, I almost always see Brendan Gleeson in a hard to define, authority figure or villain role, but it was the first time I saw him in like a suit, when I'm used to seeing him as, Harry Potter or stuff like Braveheart, where he's the epic guy. So, and man, and it made sense to me how they basically had James Ellroy from LA Confidential kind of reuse his different ideas. Ellroy, for those who don't know, is best known as authoring LA Confidential, which was later adapted into a great movie. But he wrote all those LA Quartet and other just hardboiled stuff. And he's one of those, you got to just put his politics aside. And he is kind of just one of those rarities where he's like, hey, I don't know where you're going. That's a hot take, but you're a brilliant writer. And so yeah, when I saw Street Kings, I was like, yeah, this is like the second side of Dark Blue. Like both.
And that's a great duo, Keanu and Forrest. Unbelievable.
And I do not know why Keanu fans overstep this one. Like they do not. I remember when this got announced. Other people can go to Wikipedia and IMDb and go, "Oh, it used to be in development, known as The Night Watchman." But I remember seeing when my uncle had Entertainment Weekly, like this was a big ass thing. I'm like, whoa, Keanu's getting fit again. It's not The Matrix. It's not sci-fi.
And that's what 2 years after The Matrix ended.
5.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, 2 years.
No, 5.
Oh, 5 years. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, 2009.
No, 08. And what was so wild, I'm like, whoa, Forrest Whitaker's in this. It's similar to his role in The Shield. Whoa, shit. I hadn't seen it yet, but I'm like, I see all the ads. I'm seeing all the Emmy attention. And I think Tom Ludlow is just as cool a role because, again, he starts off as a shitty cop who covers up crime scenes and then realizes he's being used as a fall guy and that, this isn't right. This starts eating him up. I like a lesser movie would have shown him. In fact, I think that's a good stepping stone before we get into the other movies. I think this movie, by this time, I was just like, whoa. I'd seen some of the other Ayer movies. I'm like, Terry Crews and Clea Sloan and Noah G. Those are guys that are in all these other movies and they're being reused again. Kenneth Choi, same deal. And I like how I remember one reviewer who actually liked it, compared it favorably to even some users compared this to Colors.
Yes.
And that was a favorite of growing up. It was always on Spike TV late at night.
And AMC.
AMC would air the shit out of it too. Yep. I miss those days. Now it's just they're airing more recent stuff. I'm like, come on, guys. Play a less talked about, I don't know, drama or war movie nowadays, But yeah, this was the one that made me become a fan of Chris Evans. And I'm probably the only fucker on the planet who's going to say that. But I'm like, yeah, I like this guy. What do you call him? Disco. As the internal affairs detective. And again, Keanu is playing. This was a fun throwback to his roles in Point Break and Speed as the hard boiled.
Yeah, definitely.
Except instead of playing an FBI guy or a hotshot SWAT guy, yeah, he's a crooked detective who's realizing, hey, this is not me. I got to deprogram myself And we don't, a lesser movie would have spent so much time on him being a widower, and it would have probably also been like, hey man, instead they wisely are like Dark Blue, where they're like, hey, I'm not proud of who I am, but I'm way beyond the point of forgiveness. So if the last thing I can do is just put this shitty conspiracy to rest, like, and I like how they force him into it. He's like, whoa, no, this was a good call. I did not shoot my partner. I had a fight with him because he was an internal affairs guy, working with internal affairs to snitch on me.
That's another good movie.
That is a good one. Yeah, I'm just calling it the organization, but yeah, Richard Gere, evil Richard Gere. And everybody is just all unrecognizable in this. So it took me multiple viewings to figure out who the gunmen were. Because when you first watch it, it goes so fast. You think, oh, it's the, it's the two, shady
it's
guys.
Like Scream.
It is like Scream. You're like, who is the actual killer? And it's the movie within the movie almost. And I love how you think at first it's like these are the this is the fake guys. It's like, no, those were actually the crooked cops, but they dressed up that way so they would think you could pin it on the other gangsters, the career criminals. And I was like one of three people online. I've commented with a few other people back in the day when John Wick 2 was announced and I saw Common was in there. I'm like, this is a Street Kings reunion, and only three people like favorited, retweeted that.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, see, this dude is known for being a nice guy, both in public and just in some other movies. I'm like, how the R&B soul guy go from that to being this, shady, manipulative,
He's got the charisma for it. That's what it is.
And the trailer downplays it a lot. Like, he is responsible for a lot of shit that goes down in the movie. And unfortunately, most people are going to just go, oh, that's the one where evil Forrest Whitaker versus anti-hero Keanu. I'm like, it is more than that. More than that. But so I saw this in the years of Mega Upload. I snuck in a bunch of R-rated movies growing up, but I loved Hugh Laurie as the captain of internal affairs. I was like, yes, Dr. House gets to curse. I already knew he was a Brit, and he had been in plenty of movies that I had seen but didn't realize. For me, he was always like, "Oh yeah, it's the dad in Stuart Little." Why do you think it's gone forgotten? Why do you think it's just because it's uncomfortable or some shit? I don't get
it's the era we're in. Like, it's the era.
Because 08 was a big ass year, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man. And it was kind of a bunch of other like it or hate it Oscar contenders.
True, and you look at the time frame for everything coming out. People were trying. It was late 2000s, so
Tropic Thunder.
That's what really blanketed every film that came out.
That was like the only comedy everyone could agree on. The rest were manipulative, Judd Apatow stuff.
Seriously, that was the main talking point for 08 was Tropic Thunder. And going back to our original conversation about 99 and 2000s films failing and trying something new, here it is, late 2000s coming up on 2010s. Absolutely. So people are, directors are rushing to make something that's going to stand the test of time and try to outdo the previous decade. So yeah, Street Kings does stand the test of time, and there were so many good crime thrillers back then.
I saw some people who wanted to compare it to two other unlike things, but both it and Pride and Glory.
Yeah, Pride and Glory is good.
That was good. Now, I didn't care for it when I first saw it, but I came around to it, and I think it was just kind of like The Kingdom, the War on Terror movie. It just came out at the worst possible time. And
yeah, that happens.
But 07 was just a lame year in general. Like, I mean, it was a good year, but I saw other people, again, they were like, why does no one want to go to the movies? I'm like, gee, I don't know. Maybe no one wants to go to the movies this year. It's just we're going for so much. We were still being politically torn. We were still.
Oh, that was when Twilight came out.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God.
So you had Tropic Thunder and Twilight,
and Iron
and
all these other surprise hits.
Harry Potter too, coming up on its end. Yeah, so you had those three and other hits. Then the last gasp of good Disney was The Princess and the Frog in 2009.
There you go. Yeah. See, I didn't see most of those movies because I think that's just it. I was disgruntled. Well, because they were doing away with the whole 2D animation department.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And, it wasn't like with Warner Brothers where they're going to try a new variation of Looney Tunes and Scooby-Doo every few years for TV. I'm like, that's okay. That's going to always have an audience. That's some of those are going to actually be pretty good. And Ayer, I guess he was, for a guy who kept coming on to different projects, I knew he had hit something because I got a signature from him. He knew how to make these be more than just cops and robbers. Training Day is a great double feature with Heat, but it's also a great double feature with Collateral, which came after. I was always like, see, I'm sorry, Tom Cruise, you took something from Denzel. So, when did you see Detective Alonzo Harris and Jake Hoyt?
Oh man,
the narc. Jake, get back here, Jake. Jake.
It's Training Day. God.
They're driving around in a Monte Carlo. I used to have a Monte Carlo. Such a brutal, just chair fight.
And it's funny as shit too. Like it's one of those that, like,
it is so quotable, but deliberately funny. Also, darkly humorous. Why'd you shoot Roger?
And it's got the right energy too. Like it came out at the right time frame. Yeah, that was 2001. Like literally, it's right after the millennium. It's like, hey, we're doing great. Let's make this happen.
Big on Antoine Fuqua from seeing some of his other movies like Replacement Killers and Tears of the Sun. This can't not be in his top 10 though. Like this is, I was in love with it. There was 90s icon Scott Glenn, as Roger, the drug dealer. I'm like, whoa, he's never done anything like this. I've seen him be the asshole or the traitor or the serious, just watch Silence of the Lambs or Hunt for Red October. But then you see all these other guys who've been in all kinds of crime stuff. Cliff freaking Curtis from Deep Rising and Whale Rider and Die Hard 4, as the main Mexican cartel guy who's like, you didn't lay a hand on my daughter, did you? Like, and
you
what a
ever had
great
your shit shoved in?
Yeah, you ever had your shit shoved in? And he's a New Zealander, and I'm just like, how is he playing this Hispanic gangbang leader? I'm like, whoa, and
I didn't know that.
What a great convenience, it's just like, I didn't feel like a highway robbery, like with all the other plot twists that were coming out, trying to be like Sixth Sense or Fight Club. I was like, whoa, how awesome. Jake tries to do the right thing, and he gets a reward from it in the future where, the gal who he tried to, stop
Eva
from being
Longoria.
assaulted. No, Eva Mendes. It's close.
Oh, yeah, right.
Close.
Yeah. Because I was thinking of her because she helped produce the first John Wick film.
Yes, Longoria did, yes.
And that surprised me. I was like, wow.
She's been producing a lot and directing a lot.
Wow.
But yeah, Mendes, this was one of the first things I saw her in, and you see her in all of her glory. And but to be fair, a lesser director would have given her not much to do, and I like how kind of just all these minor characters, like all the sit down scenes when people are talking.
Yes.
You get the uncomfortability in the room. Like Hawk did good as just, this is very much like Dark Knight and Silence of the Lambs, where the villain takes over the movie. The hero is the punching bag.
And honestly, when you look at all his films, it's literally the blueprint of what his director's cut of Suicide Squad would be.
I got that too, and I think a lot of people. It's kind of like when you explain to them that Star Trek is a neo-Western space war movie, cop show with doctors in space, and they refuse to do that either because they don't like that other thing, or they're just like, no, I don't see it. I'm like, well, it's all there. It's following the same steps. It's just they can't shuffle it, and I'm just like, okay, to me, this is trying to be its own thing. It's much like Colors was trying to be its own thing, much like even Boys in the Hood was trying to be its own thing. It's not trying to say, a lesser production would have been like, let's just take who directed 20 episodes of Homicide and the Shield, hire him.
I mean, fuck, I would.
That would have been good, but I'm just saying.
I'd love to see Clark Johnson do a film.
He does. Cool. When we get into this,
nice.
He helps SWAT.
Oh wow.
Okay, but
that's cool,
and yeah. that's a good segue. But it's a shame that Dr. Dre is a piece of work in real life because I thought he did really good as the crooked cop Paul.
Yeah, he fits in so well. It's like so perfect.
I can't remember if Ethan actually punched him for real. Did Dr. Dre get punched for real on training day? Let me look it up.
I did not know this.
No, he did. No, he did not. But it looks so real. But I did see a funny interview where Antoine Fuqua, the director, said he used Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre to get Ethan Hawke in the movie.
Nice. It'd be a good fucking tie-in. The Shield, because it's in the same fucking area.
I have been trying to find a connection for years, and I think that's why that show appealed to me so much at first. When I got into that later. Don't get me wrong; it was only a few years after, but it was one of those. I think that's just it. I think both this and Training Day took a while to soak up because, unfortunately, we were the reactionary kind of generation. A lot of people were just so, can you believe what they did in, Gladiator?
And this is before social media took the fuck off.
People,
long before.
Tabloids were awful, all that shit. And I was always like, well, I'm judging this as much as I judge any other movie from any other era that I grew up on. What is it trying to say? And why does it work? I wasn't one of those chicken shits who's like, oh, worth a watch, good acting. I'm like, no. Good visuals. No, this movie is saying so much. Man. And Richard Roeper
tires. That was cool.
I just had some fires. Fire. Great score by Mark Mancina of Speed fame. This movie creates the gritty LA atmosphere. I love
even and Dark Blue. He did smart with that. He used the blue tone for that shit.
Yeah,
that was really fucking smart. I love that.
It felt so different. The lighting in all these movies is great. I like how Street Kings is pretty much in the dark for the most part, just in all dark corners. Like they're just showing you how there's nothing glamorous about this lifestyle.
And then you get End of Watch where it's just like, here's what we do on the beat, and it's fun.
Oh, that did good, and so wise to make it look the entire time like it's on someone's police vest camera.
Yeah, that was good. I love that body cam.
And that seemed to be the one that everybody agreed on. I'm like, why did it take 5 times just to was it the cast that not everyone got into? I don't know.
Here's the funny thing. I watched that beforehand and enjoyed it. Like, it was so fucking good. And then I rewatched it and still enjoyed it. And I rewatched it again because I was going through Anna Kendrick's filmography. And I didn't realize she was in this. Like, she's in this?
No. I remember you telling me that. And
then I was like,
she mentioned more? So she mentions it in her autobiography?
Yeah, I think she did. I'm trying to think. Maybe she did. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, mostly her autobiography was about her time. And mostly it was about her growing up, ballet, TV, then getting the call for doing Twilight, and how seriously,
someone had to do it.
Yeah, if she hadn't, this is the sad part about Twilight though. If she hadn't gotten that gig, she'd still be living in her car. Because that's where she was at that time. Yeah. And it was crazy for that time frame. Like, I didn't even know that. I just wanted her autobiography just to hear her story and shit. But, like, hearing about Twilight and all that, I was like, I hate that franchise, but I can respect it a lot more for what it did for her career.
We got a good actor. Yeah.
Definitely.
Man.
I mean, her scenes were short, but got me through it.
Jeez. Man.
And the way End of Watch ends on a funny note, like it ends sad and then it comes back to the humor. I'm like, damn. It's like you want to end it on a sour note, and the Ayer's like, nah, we're gonna make this funny as shit. People need to laugh.
It's like an explanation of just kind of the. Okay, so Training Day is literally just that. How these crooked industry it introduces how these rookies get bullied into being bad cops by the other guys who've gotten away with it and leveled up. Street Kings showed guys who had leveled up and were now deprogramming themselves especially when it meant their own actual career.
So where's Dark Blue come in then?
Dark Blue, same deal. And this way, that was even cooler because it was showing a personal salvation. He's like, I can't get my divorced wife and kid back, and I can't get. But
it's like the opposite of Stargate.
Yes.
Yeah, it is the opposite of that. Because in Stargate, he wants to blow his brains out because his kid's dead. In this one, he's doing redemption. Because he has his wife and kids.
Bingo.
Yeah, there we go.
And, I mean, it was also cool with Dark Blue how he doesn't have any... He doesn't believe his rookie guy is going to come through. And that was the one where I was like, okay, Scott Spearman is actually a decent actor. And he's more than just the Underworld guy or the...
Oh, that's before Underworld. Shit.
Yeah. But I only knew him as the franchise guy as being in Triple X and other stuff for Sony. And I see him in that. And I'm like, okay, he's good as a fall guy. And I thought it was cool how, I mean, he feels responsible for the guy's death when he gets jumped by the gangbangers on the crooked commanders.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch that shit. It's been so long. Like, I remember when
it has your girl from Homicide, Mika Michelle.
No shit.
From ER, awesome. Yeah. And that was the first thing I saw her in. I'm like, I know this gal. I've seen her face. She's
seen her ass somewhere.
I've seen her ass somewhere. But yeah, no, I like how
no.
He there's nothing else he can do, so Russell's just like, as the sergeant, he's like, I'm gonna just turn this entire department in.
Yeah. I was just thinking about Callie Thorne.
Oh, the Brad Pitt movie.
No. Callie
Thorne, yeah.
It is a decent movie. I haven't watched that in decades. No, Callie Thorne. She was on Homicide, and then
oh yes, The Wire.
Nip Tuck.
Yes.
No, not Nip Tuck.
The Wire.
Rescue Me.
Yep, Rescue Me in The Wire. Yep, love that gal. She's like, she's not Romanian. She's
French? No, Italian.
Armenian. Yeah.
Supposed to. Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. Yeah. No. She was good in actress. Now. And this is it. Like, Ayer was just for me. This was like almost like a G.I. Joe of just collecting all these guys.
And also the time frame for that is, let's see, that's you figure this is 2 years after Homicide went off the air, and you still have Law and Order going. You still have ER.
You're always going to have shows like that, yeah.
Yeah, you still have. There's still cop shows on.
And Dark
TV
Blue just flunked. Like no one saw it. I'm like, you're kidding me.
I mean, it's understandable because
It and
you
Phone
have
Booth, like they had limited festival release, and then they came out a
Booth.
year later, and I'm like, what? So did they
I
come out in
remember-
02 or 03? Yes. Oh, it came out in the festivals in 02, and then everyone saw them a year later.
I liked Phone Booth.
I do too. I
But
promise
then
we'll do an episode.
after a while, I'm like, this movie's stupid.
You suck.
I know.
Great
It's
villain.
It was a good plot twist. The end of that shit where he's just like walking past. I'm like, no.
Rewatch it. I know you like it.
No. And that was what, 03, right? Or 02?
Yep. Well, it was much like Dark Blue. It was released in 02 at the festivals, then it came out a year later nationwide, no free. So that's a good segue. So like SWAT, that was the year for me.
I was going to say Colin Farrell was working Phone Booth and Daredevil at that time.
Daredevil and then SWAT, and then it's just so wild how
that's 3 in a row. That's a lot of work.
And a few years prior, people had seen him work with Schumacher on Tigerland, some other bit parts, and be the good cop in Minority Report. And
that's right.
Unfortunately, Freeman, he and Ben Affleck were kind of on that same deal where people were like, they're handsome, but they're not great actors or their movies suck. And I'm like, whoa. Hey.
And you look at the roles he did as well. Like he did Bullseye, and that was an
I didn't think he was the worst part of Daredevil. I think a lot of people just wanted to put all the blame on him. I'm like, I thought it was decent. It just needed less visuals and more focus on.
That's what the director's cuts for. I love that because I remember there was an interview about them picking Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin. It was like they were like,
I'm actually surprised he wasn't in any of these movies. He was in everything growing up.
Yeah,
Green
and
Mile,
it's funny. Like I look at him and it's like, yeah, he's a great fucking Kingpin. It was a great fucking pick, and the guy who was doing the interview said there was nobody physically fit like him for the role. And at the time, I was like, yeah, that's right. Now that I'm older, I'm like, what about Big Show? That would have fit perfectly.
Yes.
And then I look at, the fight between Daredevil and Kingpin could have been a lot more, especially physically. It could have been a lot more.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like it's pretty fair. Like it's a good fucking movie, but that fight could have been a lot more. But it was also about, you can tell Michael was playing it safe, and Ben was more like, let's do more.
He probably wanted to do more.
I mean, it would have been nice to have seen like a full physical fight between the two of them, because one's a jacked up brick shit house, and the other one's, your basic average build. And still they got skills and shit. But, you got what you got, and I'm happy with it. Fuck it, it's good stuff. And then going to Colin, he went from doing Bullseye and then he's doing SWAT, which is more high maintenance and more depth. And then he did Phone Booth, which was just, I'm stuck in the fucking phone booth for 90 fucking minutes.
Get me out of here. I'm a shitty journalist, but I actually have a soul. Don't kill me.
I'm surprised my girl on my fucking ice.
He fits so well in the SWAT because
he's charismatic.
He was charismatic, but he wasn't. It was shared with him. Like I was like, for me, it was also good to see Michelle Rodriguez and Cool J in this because I was like, okay, so they can do more than shoot sharks. Yeah, they can do more than shoot zombies and sharks. They can actually be some tough cookies. And Sam Jackson I was already going to want to see it anyway. I remember seeing that trailer in theaters. I think it was before Lord of the Rings or some shit.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was just like, interesting. And then
Lauder. That's right. I forgot about that. Shit. That's another reason why a lot of these movies suffer, because you had your big blockbusters them years. You had Two Towers in Return of the King. Right.
Everything was dead on arrival. It just wasn't any fun. It was before the internet got crazy 4 years later. But yeah, I saw a lot of people who didn't really like it, and then Roger Ebert and company really dug it. I think Clark Johnson was good for this because he was good at just kind of utilizing. I mean, I remember him describing it as High Noon meets Top Gun. I'm like, yeah, it is a bunch of immature guys who got to get their shit together. It's just, but if you don't like cop movies even remotely, then you're gonna probably find it shitty. But I thought it's better if you watch it uncut because they cut out so much language, which unfortunately is crucial to the development of the characters on TV. You do actually miss
maggot farmer. Give me your maggot farming.
Oh well, I mean, Jeremy Renner has the best part where he goes "fuck you" when he's leaving.
Oh no, Hawkeye said a cuss word.
Hawkeye freaking curse. But yeah, I had seen him in this and 28 Weeks Later and some other bit parts and Senior Trip. But yeah, it was so funny how he's in this and he's just really just at being that. I like how I've seen people compare this to the movie Speed. Is like, yeah, similar. Ex-disgruntled cop decides to do a quick get rich scheme, and
there's no bus.
There isn't a bus, but it's just similar in the cop and robber deal. And I love how the main guy, he's a smart ass, but he keeps his composure. And I love some of the other just plot twists that they do in this. And my cousins really dug this one a lot because they love heist movies and other crazy shit going down. But yeah,
that's right. Heist came out that year too. No, that was a year later.
A few years ago. But I'm just talking heist movies in general. But that is a good movie. And yes, Kellerman from Homicide has a cameo as an officer. Yep.
Oh.
And Clark Johnson.
Reed Diamond?
Yes.
Oh shit! I love Reed.
And
missed that bastard.
Yep. He's still working.
He was to me, he was so underrated in Homicide. Like, he came on the
He's underrated in The Shield. He's only in 2 episodes.
Like, yeah, we're taking care of it.
He was great on Bones. I thought he was great on Underground and Designated Survivor. He was the main FBI guy. And so that's where I was like, leveling up, my dude. Leveling up. But he's actually a very smart guy, and I think he's come a long way in that he always wanted to be the character actor as opposed to someone who wanted to hog everyone's attention.
Yeah, definitely. He's he's the NPC of a show that captivates you more than the main quest.
Bingo.
Yeah, he really
exactly
is.
Yes.
Because he sticks out so well. Like, he went from being a detective with Baltimore Homicide, and then he joins the FBI. Fuck, I can't believe I remember that. Because he quit them. No, he went PI. He was a PI. That's right.
Private. Either way, same difference. I mean, Dominic Lombardozzi.
Oh wait, I'm doing this backwards. He was with the FBI. Then he came to Homicide. Then he left to be a PI.
No, I think you're getting that mixed up with Giancarlo Esposito. He was the FBI liaison who became a detective or worked with the cop. Anyway, either way.
Fuck it.
I mean, we got Dominic Lombardozzi, who you know as Herc on The Wire, and I liked how he was one of the henchmen.
Yes, Herc is a fucking.
Oh, and it's on a bus. So there you go.
Oh no.
Reggie Cathy, who you know is the assistant warden on Oz. I thought
miss Reg.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But
good man.
Yeah, this is one of the first movies I also saw Josh Charles and Ashley Scott in. They've been stuff like Dead Poets Society and TV show Jericho. But I think that's just it. Like, it's so funny how Ayer rescues all these movies in a way, but a lot of people don't think highly of them unless they like fun popcorn stuff like this. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the cop genre. It's the most underrated genre ever, because when people think of cop movies, they think of they think of the bigger stars that are like De Niro or Pacino or whoever else. They don't really think of like other A-listers that took up the role and made it something. They see it
and Sam Jackson was just cool. The dude is just too cool in everything, but I think that's just it. This in the 2000s, people, if they didn't see Star Wars or Tarantino movies, they were just like, oh, he's just phoning in, doing what he always does since Pulp Fiction. I'm like, he doesn't phone anything in.
Fuck no.
Even if it sucks, he doesn't phone it in.
Shit, his
he can be my sergeant any day. I'll let him yell at me. And he doesn't even really yell at this. He's just kind of more like, all right. You want to go that way? Let's go that way. It was very interactive. But I got to talk about Harsh Times. Like that was where I was just like, Christian Bale, this dude is an actor. I'd already seen American Psycho. I'd already seen Batman. I'd already seen Reign of Fire and
liked Reign of Fire. That
Equilibrium. But I see him in this. I'm like, this dude is a fucking actor. This dude is an absolute actor.
And he's one of those that was committed to the role for any film.
The Machinist he had done a few years before, and this was after, and then it got much. Here's the thing. Yeah, Ayer keeps doing movies for MGM or that get delayed, and so that's just it. Like, I see other people who I knew in high school who hated Harsh Times with a passion. I'm like, you're kidding.
Why?
You're okay with him being this unlikable person here, but not there? But be consistent, dude.
It'd be like if he did a romantic flick and people like,
that's exactly it. He's not sexy there, but he's hot there. It's the same fucking thing. No, it's not. So I still Terminator Salvation in theaters, and like you, I am a fan. I think a lot of people just can't separate the art, but he'll always be the guy for me from Big Short, and Terminator Salvation, and 3:10 to Yuma, Rescue Dawn, and The Fighter.
I vaguely remember Rescue Dawn. I didn't watch it though, but I remember the title.
And One in the Chamber is another good one, but much like Harsh Times, that made me want to see him in more crime movies. Like, obviously there's some action, there's some mystery, but I mean, a lot of people just wrote it off as this is a shitty taxi driver falling down type movie. I'm like, it's not at all. It's similar, but it's not. No, I mean, and unfortunately the trailers did it a disservice. It looked on focus. All they did was just show scenes where they're running around, fighting, jumping out of cars with guns. I'm like, see, trailer making at this time sucked. People would just take shocking scenes, not create any kind of narrative, and it was just, that looks shocking. I guess I want to see it.
That's true. That's very true.
And I saw this back in the day when people would upload movies on YouTube, and so many great movies. Everything from Mi Vida
people
Loca.
Still upload shit on YouTube. And
I impressed some Hispanic classmates for the fact that I already seen Blood In, Blood Out.
Nice.
What
did I see recently? Oh, somebody uploaded Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse on xvideos.com in Spanish. I'm like, damn, all right.
You ran out of different kinds of movies to watch.
Like, fuck it. I don't feel like beating my dick. I'm gonna watch me some Spider-Man.
Sloppy seconds. So this is a great role for J.K. Simmons, and I like how I'd seen some people who hated this movie and liked this movie just say, "Oh, it's a Training Day imitation." And I'm like, yes and no. They drive around pointlessly, but there's no reward. It's just showing. And as a loser growing up, I did relate to this. Don't get me wrong. I did not relate to the characters at all. They're psychopaths.
Oh, I relate to every psychopath shit.
And your girl, Eva Longoria, is in here. And so I saw her in this. I saw her in Clark Johnson's The Sentinel. I saw her in... I mean, I had seen part of Desperate Housewives, but I didn't think that was a good show.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, it sucks. I saw her.
I got an underrated NBC show for you.
Oh, God. What?
Second Noah.
Second Noah.
You'll never guess who's in that. You'll never guess.
James Marsden.
Nope. Close with the J. Close with the J, but not James.
Sean. There's a lot of J's, but I don't recognize names. Go ahead.
Jared Leto.
Oh, fuck that. Anyway, so yeah,
I was surprised because I'd watched that growing up and didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And I liked it because it was such a good series. I was surprised, and it got canceled.
It's a pretty well-rated show. So Eva Longoria I'd seen in
you said The Sentinel?
Yeah, I'd seen her in the Baytown Outlaws and Frontiera, and so I'm like, yeah, this chick's pretty cool. And she's worked on George Lopez on a few movies and shows, and now she's directing. But yeah, when I saw her in this, it was like, see, instead of being a cliche kind of Latina gal where she's like, get out of my face, essay, no stereotypes. Like, and I knew Freddie Rodriguez from Dead Presidents and Planet Terror.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the first times where I'm like, whoa, he's playing an everyday. How do you go from Scrubs to this?
Oh, God. That's funny.
6 Feet Under, dude.
It's wild seeing people transition from different roles.
They can't all do it. We remember the bad ones, like Matt LeBlanc. He can only play Joey and Friends, so he should stick to.
No, he can stay in Lost in Space.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I like that movie.
I liked it growing up. It wasn't very good. So, what do you think of Terry Crews in this movie? Yes, he's in it.
Wow. I don't remember.
He's one of the drug dealers who's goofing around, getting all high on the pot. He's like, hey, man, you haven't had enough.
Yeah, I don't remember Harsh Times that much. I remember it.
Do you remember where
he
fails the drug test?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I haven't watched that in ages. Like, I remember watching it. I did watch it. I just don't remember anything about it.
So rewatch it when you get a chance, but you'll love. Yeah, once again, Kenneth Choi is in this. Before Captain America and movies like War with Jet Li. I love. He's also one of the gangbangers, and I loved how J.K. Simmons is one of the agents in here, and he just roasts Christian Bale. He's like, "Do you think you're up to this? I don't think you're taking this exam very serious." And he's trying to join Homeland Security, and can you just imagine the terror of an unstable,
Jesus Christ,
shell-shocked loser? He's already failed to being a cop, and he's trying to join Homeland Security, and they find out.
Jarhead come out?
A year before.
Okay.
But this is just funny because they do a good job of showing instead of telling, and they show the war, and he wakes up like it's a violent nightmare, so we can infer, okay, this is how he wakes up every day. He's got PTSD. But I loved how he is trying to cheat on the urine test for Homeland Security, and they're like, dude, we're not dumb. This is not your piss.
Now I get it.
He fails a polygraph test, and I'm just like, that's amazing.
No, I figured out. I just realized why people don't gravitate to cop films as much. Because this is why. Back then, it was clear cut. You
knew how it was going to end before it started.
Yeah, you knew you had
predictable
your bad
garbage
cop and your good cop, and
just
then,
like war movies. Wave the flag.
Oh God, so dumb. But now this is 2000, so they're switching things up and making it more creative. And I would say the most creative film, cop wise, that I like and really admire is Bone Collector. Because that was a great role.
Denzel and Jolie. They should have.
Yeah, that was her first film as a cop. I was like, that's really good.
They should have fucked.
For real. Hold still. No. But actually, speaking of
yeah, let me strip search it.
Speaking of fucking, going with Denzel, actually, he would not kiss Julia Roberts in the Pelican Brief because he felt, he felt that was wrong. I was like, damn. And he pushed against that too, because the director's like, you two need to kiss. And he's like, no, that's wrong.
That's not my brand. I don't want it to be formulaic. Let's end it safely. Plus, I ain't into you that way. I ain't into you that way, Julia. No, I'm not into you like that. No.
I mean, they would make an interesting couple in film.
It's a good
I'll say
movie.
that. Yeah, it really is. So good. But yeah, like you look at, Bone Collector, and then going forward, you still had this basic formula for cop films.
Yep.
But they decided to warp it and make it more focused on, how their lives are, instead of just being the same shit. And you have
same shit.
You got
A Day in the Life of Oreo.
Yeah, pretty much. You got Third Watch, which covered cops' lives and firefighters' lives. And how
they're all one side of the same coin, and yet it doesn't feel. It feels like.
And
it feels like someone made.
Underrated.
The Shield is beyond criminally underrated. Without that, you don't get Breaking Bad, but without it at all, like you don't. Cable TV would have kept sucking. It would have just been. Let's just be edgy, but not too much, because we don't want to get in trouble, even though we could go the full route. But it was one of the first where they told the advertisers, hey, we're not asking you to agree with the characters in the show, but that's how close-minded they were. They were always like, oh, HBO must have no ethics. They're airing stuff like The Sopranos or Nas. I'm like, no, it's called fiction, and they want to air something cool that hasn't been done yet and win some Emmys, and it worked. So I gotta bring up Sabotage for you, my dude.
Man, I remember that. Because I was like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Even Arnold. And see, I thought it was more like, again, like it was a little bit of the down and dirty like SWAT where they're showing their
Joe in that.
Joe Manganiello. Yeah.
I loved
that. I had already liked him from Spider-Man. As one of the college student guys, but
I didn't even recognize him after a second rewatch.
But
I was
yeah,
like,
I mean,
Christ, where's your hair?
After True Blood and Magic Mike, he comes back doing some more of these tough guy movies. I think there was Arch Enemy, which was based on a comic. And I'm like, see, I would actually not mind him being in some more tough guy stuff. He seems to just be the handsome.
Kicker about Joe. He's a D&D guy.
Yeah, like Vin Diesel. He's a very geeky guy.
I had no idea. I was like, wow, he's in the Dungeons and Dragons.
Why do you think this movie just flopped? Because he's literally still doing what he did in Street Kings and Into Watch, where he's giving you those first POV shots. He's showing you how these guys are above the law.
What year was Sabotage?
Oh, that was 2014. And
okay.
So Arnold had already been in some of the Expendable movies and Escape Plan. He hadn't done Maggie yet, but that came out a year later, and same deal. I thought it was good, and his fans dug it, but no one fucking saw it. I'm like, you're kidding me.
I rented that. I paid $6 to see that shit on Xbox. I was so excited because I was like, wow, Arnold's playing. He's playing with a zombie daughter. Cool. And I was
I got the zombie daughter.
I loved it. But yeah, going back to Sabotage.
He's here with Marcus from Terminator Salvation, so I already thought that's a win. 2 Terminators in one movie. He's with Terrence Howard. That instantly means I have to see it.
Definitely. What made that fail? This is how it works. You look at Ayer's career and how he started. Like his stronger stuff was always at the beginning, and now it's 2014, so he's winding down.
He's winding down.
Yeah, and people, they advertise, it's Arnold's film. They're advertising it like that. So
I saw people comparing this to all kinds of shit. I'm like, I don't think it's like those movies at all. I would just call this Criminal Minds meets, I don't know, like one of the other Serpico. Like this is a down and dirty 70s movie in 2010 blood.
But yeah, and
there's 2 actors from Lost in this, and this still flopped. Come on.
Yeah, they marked it as Arnold's film, and then you factor in.
He's just a co-star, man. He's leading it, but he's not the main.
It's 2014, so the
Augustus
MCU
is not in a wheelchair anymore.
The MCU is in full swing, so comic book films are dominating.
People are seeing The
theaters.
Purge, all that shit.
And everything else, and Disney too. So you have all that dominating the theater, and DreamWorks too. DreamWorks had How to Train Your Dragon. But yeah, you had all that going on, and then Sabotage just kind of fell through the
Max
cracks because of that.
Martini from Pacific Rim in the unit, and no one sees this. I'm like, you would think you would want to see this just because there's all these great actors in it.
It comes off like an FX original, but flopped because of its affiliation, I guess.
You don't think Michael Chiklis could be in this movie with me? Why don't you see my movie, Oreo? I was waiting on you at the red carpet.
And then he took a break for 2 years, and then worked on Suicide Squad. And then that bombed because people.
I mean, they promoted this on WWE, dude.
I know. Because I remember that because Arnold was on Raw for a while promoting shit. That was back when I did watch WWE, and then I quit.
Quit? No.
Yeah, but I don't remember why he was on. It wasn't just him promoting Sabotage. There was something else, and I don't know what.
I wanted to be the Governator. I don't know. I don't know what he was promoting in 2014. But I mean, I don't know. This gave people what they wanted, which was a violent movie, and some people thought the violence was too disturbing. What do you mean? I can't get behind that. I can get behind. Don't get me wrong.
Have you not seen Bastard Out of Carolina, for fuck's sake?
Yeah. Have you not seen any Stephen King movie? Jesus.
I wouldn't even say Stephen King. Like, fuck that.
I mean,
that's teen, but that's introduction.
Have you not seen Blade 2? Have you not seen?
Have you not seen Hellraiser, for fuck's sake?
Hellraiser, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's
too violent. Did you not see RoboCop? Unrated RoboCop?
I've actually seen people complain about those, and even in the sequels, I'm like, whoa. Don't say they're too violent. Say you don't think the violence led anywhere. Big ass difference. That's what you probably mean, but you're not saying that. You're being dumb. I don't know, man. I felt like this had a lot to get behind, and yet, despite just so much talent, I mean, I have other pals who didn't care for this, but when I was on Jamie Ray's favorite 5 from fans, he asked me to rank some of Arnold's best roles, and I put this on here. And he's like, "Oh, that's actually a good movie." But no one's seen it, and
nobody ever talks about this shit because it's not that popular.
If it worked in the 70s, why wouldn't it work here? I would buy this just as much if this was Charles Bronson, Fred Williamson, a bunch of other tough guys in the era.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and foodie debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out. And Terrence Howard is like one of the few actors where he's done bad things in the past, but that was years ago before he became an actor. So he wasn't going to get canceled or anything. He had already... I see other people trying to lean on other actors. It's like, okay, I can understand why those guys make you uncomfortable and you don't want to see a movie they're in. But this dude he was like a rapper where he came from a dark background, then he got into acting, and that was his escape. And I thought he was good here because he and the other DEA guys are just all kind of showing how all this violence eats them up, and they just want to get out. And this cartel money is the only way out until it's not. And I liked how some of the cartel guys happened to be, one of them was a serial killer, so they're trying to kill all the members of the team and exploit them. And I mean, that's dark. In the first like 10 minutes, you see the guy's wife and daughter get killed, and
it's like Sicario.
This is a year before Sicario, and yet why is that successful and yet even more depressing? I get that this has a different start. No one was trying to make an award-winning movie, but no one was trying to make a shit movie either. God.
Maybe it was just right time, wrong place, or right time, wrong.
Yeah,
decade,
wrong time, all the way. I can't think of anything else because I see if this would have worked in the 70s, why does this not work here? But I see other people who act, this is the most manipulative, I guess, for Arnold fans, because I see other people who go like, oh, this is boring and sucks. I don't like anybody. And then I see other people go, oh, it's a good one, really underrated role for him. And I'm like, okay.
It happens. You have them films that people will rally behind, and then you will have ones that people will just absolutely shit on because they don't like
I gotta take a dump.
Literally, it's funny as hell. I've seen it with so many films that I've enjoyed. I have enjoyed I, Frankenstein, and people hate it.
I saw that in theaters, dude. That was fun.
I'm like, dude, it's awesome.
It was trashy fun. I think they hated it because the graphics weren't great, but I'm like, whatever.
No, the big argument was that they had the scene connecting the underworld, and it was cut. And
it's
people were mad about that. I mean, yeah, it's true. I would have loved to have seen that crossover. That would have been beautiful.
Do it.
God.
There's still time.
True.
So
but
I think the show Deputy was similar. It came out at the wrong time.
Yeah.
But it was a good comeback role for Steven Dorff as a Vice Squad deputy sergeant. And they, instead of doing a case by case, they made it again more like Shield and Training Day. They had some unusual criminals, and Ayer was working on this with Will Bile, who's just co-wrote stuff like Justice League for Zack Snyder, as well as the new upcoming Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop comeback movie, and Bad Boys Ride or Die. But he's also written stuff for Castle and Aquaman, shit like Gangster Squad, and rewrites of stuff like Edge of Tomorrow and Nonstop and Venom. So I'm like, that's a pretty diverse.
Edge of Tomorrow's so good.
It is good, but I don't. That's a diverse resume, and all those superhero and crime shows and movies are all very, very different. Yeah. So, he apparently had worked 10 years as a homicide detective and gang investigator, so I guess he knew how to make this make sense and be interesting. But it wasn't enough. And when that show got canceled, I wrote to Ayer on Twitter the next day and got a response. I'm like, this is so unfair. Why do they cancel it before it dies? It doesn't have to be Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. Good. Or overrated.
It's interesting because it's similar to set a standard. And the biggest problem with
I have no standards.
Trying to set a standard goes with whatever network you are affiliated with.
Yep.
If it's with HBO, yeah, you're gonna have a good hit on your hands because HBO has a great track record. If you go to Showtime, yeah, you'll have the same thing, but not as much. If you go to Amazon, yeah, you're definitely going to be making a lot of bank because one, you have a choice of getting not only it on Prime to watch, but also having it readily to sell after the first season ends. And also merchandise too.
Well, and all this stuff now especially is going to get forgotten about because unless you buy it on Apple or Amazon when it's out, it just disappears into the cloud. There will
So,
never be a physical media release of it unless it's got like 5 seasons. Yeah.
yeah, it's sad. That's why I had to download Third Watch years ago.
You
Because
are
there's,
wise.
I
So
know,
wise. And same
I did.
show, same kind of show. It came out, but it was always kind of like DS9. It was caught in between all the other stuff that's on the same networks, and you're like,
And it's sad because, like, I got that 7 years ago, actually, because I was like, I want to watch it again. And I was
it ain't
like, fuck
anywhere.
it. Yeah. There's only 2 seasons available on DVD, and then they finally released it on Tubi.
Booby. Or as I call it, Booby.
Yep. Yeah, I downloaded that. It's 48 gigs. I'm happy.
It's very
I don't care.
specific.
Yeah. And it's got the original logos and everything. I'm like, this is beautiful. Good old quality. I love it. Good old 4:3 quality. That's something that needs to come back more. Is 4:3 quality films. Like, I love that with Zack Snyder's Justice League. That was perfect. That was really fucking perfect for that. It fits so well.
It was perfect.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And
Arnold, get out of here.
It just worked. It was the right layout. And so
the layout is what's lacking today. I can't even imagine how anyone pitches something today.
Word, because they're more worried about whether it's going to get canceled after the first season or not. And who's attached. Like, even the one thing that cracks me up is Mahershala Ali's agent. Yeah, his agent wrote that she can't believe that the film Blade hasn't even done anything yet, and it's been 5 years. I'm like, you should just back out now. Because she was shocked that it's been 5 years since he signed the deal and nothing's happened. And it's a scary time too, because like that was just before COVID hit, and now this is still aftermath of COVID. Nothing's gonna fully recover until 2030, guaranteed. Because
I don't think we'll ever recover, dude. Because people, they're spoiled.
Man, and there's too many leaks for everything. Oh, we have another leak on the set. I'm like, why are you showing all these fucking leaks? Why are there leaks, period? It's so dumb. It's absolutely dumb. It's like, stop leaking stuff. It's like, you're not supposed to please the audience. Like, you're you're feeding
this is why we do these deep dives.
Ooh.
Predicting the audience is a terrible way of marketing.
Word.
I think everyone is focused on, it's quite okay to be like, hey, I don't think this is going to set anything on fire, but I think a lot of people throw in the towel way too early to where it's just like, you should be marketing like, everyone makes the mistake of marketing to the wrong crowd or wrong audience. Or
the biggest mistake now is talking about how long the film is or how long the episode is. Who fucking cares? We didn't worry about run times growing. I was like, fuck it. We're watching this start to finish.
Recaps suck, dude. I see viewers getting so impatient on episodes of everything, Lovecraft Country to Yellowstone. I'm like, it's serialized. Was Babylon 5 not a good precursor? I don't know. I think a lot of people want every episode to stand on its own. I'm like, I don't want it to stand on its own. I want it to all be relevant or a cool outing. Even if it's an interchangeable episode, it's got to be, I got to learn something new about the character instead of
point of
just
the first season. Like, you're supposed to learn about
instead of they solved the crime and that was a little too cute for its own good.
Yeah, like the best example, and this will always make me cry because it's the best example of how to write a fucking arc. Literally.
Not just any arc, a fucking arc.
Yeah, a fucking arc. This is how you write a fucking arc on a show. Bayless, Homicide, season 1 to
Bingo.
season 7. That's how you write.
Everyone hates so much in the last 2 seasons, and I do not get it.
That's so dumb. Like, you get the biggest payoff in his arc alone.
He's been abused. Alone. He's uncomfortable with his bisexuality. He can't keep a date. He's unhappy. And then he snaps and he can't live with the fact that he just murdered a bad guy and now he's going to kill himself. It's like, that is.
Yeah.
And when he's first introduced, you're unsure. But I'm like, I'm sorry. That is the best role Kyle Secor has ever done.
And to give the cherry on top for him, he gets to solve his first case.
Yes.
And that is so goddamn beautiful. When you, like, I watched that. I saw that. I have that memory. I have that joy and that heart. It's so beautiful.
It is. And I think a lot of people don't cherish a lot of stuff. They just think, oh, on to the next one. It's like going for candy. I'm like, oh, come on, cherish the flavor before we move on.
It's like you really gotta watch it and absorb it.
I don't eat food just to eat. I also want to give compliments to the chef and learn how the chicken is made.
Exactly. Like, you look at that role and it's literally it's A+ writing, it's A+ production.
When I started, I'm like, I don't know how they can outdo The Wire. I'm like, now I can't choose.
It's hard because both of them are so good, but what sets Homicide apart from The Wire is all of its star power through the years, because they went through a lot of good stars. And it's very amazing how much who all was attached in the beginning versus where it ended up in the very end. Like, you saw a lot of A-list talent leave the show. And it's like, how the fuck are they going to keep
Andre
doing
Braga.
this? Yeah. And Ned Beatty.
Holy.
Yeah. Yeah. And Andre, Ned.
Well, I think a lot of TV actors, unfortunately, some of them are still struggling to get into the movies. It's easier now.
Yeah, because
now you can just have a hit sitcom or a streaming show. But I'm just like, but it wasn't easy for all of them because they didn't all have good agents who updated their demo reel. They weren't able, and pre-internet, you didn't know if you were doing a good job or not because you didn't get feedback on Twitter,
That's right, because all you had back then.
I just saw the episode where you play the bad guy. You're so awesome. Okay, cool. I wish I'd known that 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's like and you're talking about 90s TV. All you had back then was TV Guide and magazine articles to go by.
And people bitching about it the next week, and you're like, it wasn't that bad. Shut your face.
You had face-to-face interactions back then. You didn't have fucking screens and shit.
Yep.
I still remember Homicide's original website.
Whoa.
Yeah, they had a website. Their original website, I always got on there because I wanted to play the Alien game they had. And it was so much fun because this was like 90.
Man, I played plenty of games on WarnerBrothers.com. I don't think I ever played anything on NBC. And that's the problem. It's lost to time unless you can somehow find it on archive.
Let me think. I think it was 98 or 99 they had their website. And it was an alien babe shooting. No, it was a blonde babe shooting aliens. It was the most basic shit ever. But I loved playing it.
That's what Ayer needed. He needed a tie-in, but he wasn't getting that. But I miss when that happened. You would play a little arcade game in Flash on the website and then I miss when you would go on a website and you would see a making of, kind of like interviews.
Or you had bios to check out and stuff.
Even just making of blogs that would, now people just watch that and it gets imported to Blu-ray a year later. But I'm like, no, I'm talking when that was the only way you followed this shit.
I would love to interview David Ayer and find out what his take on Homicide would be if he wrote it. It's seeing if he would follow the same formula.
I think he would.
I mean, I think
he would do a
get more
similar
grittier.
approach, but the dialogue would totally not be David Simon's. I don't think he and Simon would work well together because Simon is all about if you get one thing wrong, it's bad.
But they both have the shit serving background.
Yes.
So they would have that common.
He would
So
try to get most of it right, but there would be times where maybe they wouldn't want to compromise. I don't know.
It'd be interesting as hell.
Because, like, for instance, Simon didn't like any of the Dick Wolf crossovers. He's like, that shit's fake.
Oh God.
I don't know.
That's so sad.
You can't please everybody.
And they were the ones to be excited about. You had Law and Order, Homicide, Wednesday and Friday.
Who will solve the case first?
And the best fucking part, I remember them 2-part episodes. They were the best because it was like Friday.
How are they going to adopt each other's style? You know, it was fun.
It was fun because it was like Friday, 9, 8 Central, Law and Order, 10, 9 Central, Homicide.
And if you missed the 2-parter, you still got enough closure, but you didn't see the follow-up.
Or you had to wait for reruns to catch the 2-parter. Fuck. And those took weeks because they would replay the entire season. And then you had to wait. Like, oh,
yeah. It wasn't like sitcoms where they'll show a season 1 episode in the middle of the day and a season 7 episode at morning hours, midnight. I don't know. But I also feel like you can't call these just cop movies. They're also gangster movies, you know, because people are.
And that's where he blurred the lines because.
And much like The Shield, I call that an action crime mystery horror show. I don't call. Yes, the writers were inspired by horror movies for all the shocking crime scenes, but and there's serial killers, but it's mainly an action mystery. And I see other people.
Comedy.
Oh, it's totally a dark comedy, yeah. And it's like the X-Files at times. 1 minute you're laughing, the next minute you're like, nightmare fuel. And I don't know. I think a lot of people they don't understand subgenres, or they just want it to be in just one corner. And I'm like, is that what the filmmaker intended? Probably not. People don't like being labeled.
And people don't like having divisiveness, yet they're totally okay with connecting. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you can't have one or the other. Like, get off the fence, idiot. But yeah, I would say Sabotage's failure was the wrong time. And definitely.
I'm just kidding.
And you can like if you think about it and you look at his whole career, like that he was probably burned out at that point.
I heard some of it got taken away from him, so I mean,
that's probably understandable too. I would say that Ayer, Snyder, Simon, and Clark Johnson, they worked together on a project and had shared creativity.
Do it
on that shit.
Especially now that HBO fired David Simon because he get this. He stood with the Writers Guild.
What's wrong with standing with the guild?
Nothing. That's the bullshit. That just showed you how much they valued his contributions to his great programs that they aired. I'm like, what? You got to find something else because Showtime doesn't really air as much stuff like that. Simon, I hope you produce an awesome thing for Amazon or Paramount in the future.
Paramount would work for him because, like, I feel
they're
like
still testing out the waters, and they want to do something that's not just.
Paramount had the better cop films, I want to say.
Yeah, but they can't rely on just the NCIS saga.
Yeah, that's true. Like, can't rely on.
So if they can do something new and have it not be necessarily a franchise, just a cool 7-season arc, like even if 5 seasons, like Person of Interest, just do something like that and take it off. Make it look minuscule on the surface, and then once people watch it, you realize, whoa, this is. I mean, because you've already brought up Third Watch. I just brought up Person of Interest, which, again, people think is either a mystery show or a sci-fi show or a cop show. And I'm like, yes, Like, you can't put it in one capacity. It's basically, I call it Inception, the series. That's what I call it. Anyway, because it really is. It's by Nolan, Jonathan Nolan. Well, I like better than his brother. And unfortunately, that's kind of how you got to do. You got to make the marketing somehow seem average, and then once people actually see it, they go, "Holy shit, this is not easy to describe. What did I just watch?" I don't know, but seems like each time they tried to predict it, it just blows up in their face.
True, and it's always about like I've mentioned before, like my approach when it comes to a film or show, I go by the trailer and posters.
I don't watch the trailer because the trailers suck.
Trailers are fun though because they're the most misleading shits ever.
That's why I don't like them.
And they have all the spoilers in the trailer hidden.
And they play shitty pop and rap music that just hurts my ears.
Some of it I like though. I ended up adding a bunch of songs to my playlist because I'm like, this is
I'll
good.
give you till maybe 2010, and then after that, it was trashy. It was Fast and Furious type stuff.
Yeah, Fast and Furious. Yeah, I got tired of
I do not blame Ayer for that. He just rewrote some of the dialogue and scenes and probably made it more macho. They decided, let's have Ben run it and have it be about cars. Oh, shit.
I would not mind seeing David work in anime series.
I think he'd be more than up for the challenge because
that's easy shit.
He's not a merc anymore. He's not to that point where he doesn't have some creativity, and I think
let him work on Trezor.
There you go. You know, and if he wants to do sci-fi again, let him do it. I mean, I think this is it. People won't let Suicide Squad go. I don't mind it as a Harley Quinn movie. I can see why everyone's iffy on the rest of the movie, but it's not the worst thing ever made. But
no, it's not.
I can think of way worse superhero films. You hate Civil War. I hate. Oh, jeez. All the Thor movies. Fuck it.
That's not because the first one feels like Star Trek film.
A little bit.
It really does. I'm like,
I just hate
feels like Shrek.
I just hate the cast. If Ayer wants to do a space opera, let him do it. You know, Seth MacFarlane is doing the Orville, for fuck's sake. You know, anybody can do something if they just ask people, please. You know, if Jordan Peele can be a comedian and then do all these horror movies, come on.
Word. And Seth MacFarlane did comedy before he did
freaking animated comedy and lounge singing.
Oh man,
he's a great singer, but people just go, "Oh, the Family Guy creator." He's actually a smart guy too, so I think that makes a fucking difference. And
that is a big deal. It's a big thing.
People like him as a person, as opposed to like Rick and Morty, where they're like, "Hey, don't interact with Morty. He's a douchebag." Or no, Rick. Don't interact with Rick. He's a douchebag.
It's like, don't talk to these people.
I'm like, no, because 3 times out of the year, I'm gonna have to interact with this person, so I better like them.
Exactly.
I have people I don't like at work, but once we get past an argument, we let it go instead of eat it up and just look forward to making each other's life miserable. And so many other workplaces are toxic that way, and I don't know how anyone does it, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, look at it this way. Imagine if everybody that worked on Lauder in that time frame didn't like each other.
Oh boy.
That would be some wild shit. But they got along with each other. They were isolated for 18 months filming all them films, and they got along with each other. The one thing I remember from that was in I forget which interview it was. I know it was Sean Astin. They were doing.
I love how you called it Lauder, as in lottery. Just call it Wolverines, dude. Wolverines. I don't.
Sean was walking in a creek or a river for a scene, and he stopped in his tracks. And they're like, "What's wrong?" And he stepped in a piece of glass because they had cleaned that whole area up where they were filming, but they missed a piece of glass and it went through his foot. Yeah. And it derailed filming for a little bit, but not very long because he didn't step on it completely.
Oh, jeez.
It just
I can't imagine.
Yeah, but that's wild. And then, of course, Vigo breaking his fucking toe.
And I can't blame him for not wanting to shower because he's like, we're just gonna be smelling like, I'll just put on some deodorant, but I'm not gonna.
But that's amazing though for that time frame, and that's before internet. That was when internet just started.
Yeah,
and
it starts
nobody
in like
knew.
97 and just like continues.
And no one knew. Like I never paid attention to news or anything.
They gave themselves time. They were on budget. They had the right mixture, especially when you look at who was up for it. Like Daniel Craig and Russell Crowe read for the roles, and you're like,
and the fact that Sean Connery too, I think
they wanted him, but get this,
and
he didn't understand it.
Yeah, that's right.
Much like Lord of the Rings and Star Trek V, where he would have played Spock's half brother. I'll do Highlander and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen instead.
Wasn't he offered like 5% of the take?
That just shows you. But see, this is what I respect about actors like that versus had it been anybody else.
Yeah.
Like had it been an egomaniac, like I don't know, like Stallone or
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, or Tom freaking Cruise, is like, okay, shut up and do your work. But had it been anybody else, no telling what their reason would have been. It would have probably been something dumb like I'm drunk and I'm out of work. Connery was just like, hey, you can pay me all the money you want. I don't think I'll do you a good service because I don't understand what Gandalf is saying. So sorry.
I still pity Stuart Townsend. Like he was so gung ho for the role. He even trained on horseback.
Well, that was an example of they shouldn't have waited as long as they did on that. They should have known from the audition process, hey, this guy doesn't have it in him. He's busy dating other famous actresses. I don't know. I don't know why they had to get through a month of filming to realize, hey, you're fucking fired. But I never understand why it gets that far in the process, but I get it. People didn't always have good time management skills, but now they really should. I mean, if I invite you to a Zoom table read, if you don't show up, you can lose my number. But if you say something in advance, hey, we can record you separate. But at the same time, with a movie making,
and you're together for that long as well.
You gotta be totally invested. It can't be bullshit like, oh, by the way, I'm going to Chicago for a week without telling you. Oh, fuck you. You know what?
That's why. Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen brought that up. She's like, she put out a warning to anybody that wants to do a Marvel film. She's like, do not sign a multi-year contract. I'm like, I don't fucking blame you for telling that shit. She's like, I missed out on so many opportunities because of being with Marvel. And I get them wanting to keep for real. I get them wanting to keep people for years at a time. That's understandable. James Cameron did the same shit with Avatar.
Oh God.
And I know it's another prime example, and he played it smart. People don't like Avatar for whatever reason. It's fine. That's cool. But this motherfucker played the long game. He played the smart.
Nothing unprofessional about how it was made. It was pretty much you're here or you're not. If you're not here, then get lost.
And he waited 13 years to make all the sequels up. And that's amazing. He waited a full decade to get everything planned out and
filmed for 2.5 years and then said, our footage is bad, let's film it again. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, because there was an interview with Sigourney Weaver where she was talking to
Sigourney is our queen.
Yes, someone, I forget who it was, but it was 2016.
She's really good in Rampart, which if you haven't seen is an original script by James Elroy, which has Woody Harrelson as a bad cop during the LA riots. And she plays one of the council people, and Ice Cube for once actually acts instead of just playing himself, playing a narc who's investigating him. But
yeah, she got called. Yeah, James called her up in 2016, and
I'd love to see James do a cop movie and then have some robots in it.
But yeah, he called her up, and she was filming Avatar for that time frame.
Yep.
And yeah, he filmed all those sequels back to back because of the kids. He didn't want to wait for them to grow up. He just waited. He just filmed then at their current age and worked from there because he knew if they got older, it would be the same.
Oh yeah, they did that with Boyhood.
Yeah, and they did it with Harry Potter as well.
Yes. God. Evil.
Crazy.
Hey, no one got grown, so that's good.
Yeah.
Nothing creepy, no Weinstein stuff.
And they made sure the kids had a life outside of the film too, which was really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that's a rare.
You need that real life. You need to develop yourself. You can't be like an NBA player where you're valued for your body but not your mind.
Like Emma Watson almost left Harry Potter because of that, because it was so much work and she couldn't balance school, and she almost quit. Yeah, she almost quit. Wow. But then she came back. She stayed. Oh, damn. Good.
Damn, girl. Wow. So what we're realizing is commitment. So Ayer, keep committing. Keep doing your collabs, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between you and all these other guys who have had some not as successful stuff in recently is no one's ever said you're an asshole. No one's ever said you're impossible to work with. You're a cool dude. Keep making awesome movies. Well, I'll be there opening night. And if not, I'll give it a rent. Yeah, I still need to see The Beekeeper. But everyone I know who's seen it likes
You haven't seen The Beekeeper yet?
I will.
Jesus Christ, man.
I wanted to.
That was fun.
I know. I've heard nothing but great stuff. I've seen people say it's the best action mystery movie of the year. So, of 2023. 24. Whatever. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I saw that with a triple feature. It was Madam Web, Beekeeper, and
that's a hell of a double feature.
No, it was triple. That's all.
Jeez, I had to get to sleep.
I like my movies. Fuck. It's fun because I had the money and I was like, fuck it, I'm doing a triple feature marathon.
Do that with Ayer's movies. Do Training Day, then do Street Kings, then do Dark Blue.
Doom Part 2. That's what I saw with that.
Then
that's
Doom Part 2. Perfect.
3 months ago. Yep.
Be sure to date the episode, too. Pretty lovely.
Yeah, Beekeeper, definitely one of the better. It's
evil
like
Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, I love Jeremy.
Who doesn't love evil Jeremy Irons? It's what you've hired.
Yeah, I would definitely say Beekeeper's like a return to his original roots,
which is wild because like it's similar in that it deals with corruption, but it's not dealing with cops anymore. Now it's dealing with
it's more rooted in real
business, economy, vigilante. So
and it feels good because if you go and rewatch Sabotage and then compare it to this, then you'll see a major difference.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up